that. This, by the way, this was when she was pregnant with you. So, that was another one of those big things. So, so then, of course, you were born, Jamie was born. We got involved in the Boy Scouts and the troop and going to all the Boy Scout events that there were, and then the Philmont trips. And then, of course, you guys both found your loves and you got married. And, of course, through this all, Debbie and I would have very lengthy phone conversations, or we'd visit with each other. And we just got closer and closer with all the phone conversations. And no, I wasn't her actual sister, but I sure felt like one. She always found a way to be helpful. She was always encouraging, and she always supported those in need, especially me. And I will especially cherish the way she encouraged you and me to do the Appalachian Trail hike and the multiple tries at the West Highland Way. So she will always be in my heart. There will always be a place for her there. Anyway, I love you.
I don't really have anything prepared. My mom, like Jackie was saying, there was never a short conversation. So by nature of my job, where I currently live, it's a 3-hour drive to work. And so many mornings, we just sent each other a text, oh, mom's up. 2.5 hours of that was spent to my mom. And anybody who's sat with her at Olive Garden or wherever, you can solve the world's problems and then go home and not know what you talked about, but you still had a great time talking. So that was always a great memory for me of her. And one thing that's helping me get through all this was, again, by nature of my job, I have a little flexibility in my schedule. So being able to come up here for a week at a time and help out around the house, or let Dad go on a family wedding trip or something like that. So without knowing it was the last week that I would ever get to see her, I was able to spend that entire week with her, chilling around the house, having these good conversations, and culminating with an event where we did our, family Thanksgiving. Jan was able to come in. Kelsey, unfortunately, had her own family tragedy or passing to contend with, but just having us all together, 48 years together, plus the ones you lived in sin. So, and exchanging Christmas gifts. So, most of you may know the Hess, the toy trucks, the green and white Hess trucks. That's been our family kind of gift to each other, or them to Jan and me. They'd get us that year's Hess truck. So Mom, I decided, I would drive Mom there while Dad got the food ready up at the museum. And Mom was just so excited to get there. She's like, I want us to all get there at the same time. I was like, Mom, don't worry about it not thinking, whatever. She was like, I really want to be there. I don't want you guys' Christmas presents to be ruined. So get up there, get the food set out. But we couldn't wait. It was time for their Christmas present to us. So up in my dad's museum, they had two tables. Just no clue what was under these tablecloths. But Allie and I got to one. Jan and his daughter Sophia got to the other. And Mom counted down. 3, 2, 1. Do the reveal. Her seeing our faces, us then seeing her faces, and Dad's faces. 20 of these damn Hess trucks. Per table, yeah. And in true brother fashion, they had to make sure there was one of each. So these going all the way back to the 70s, the 80s, of course, the fire trucks. Yeah, I get it. So I've gotten basically my whole Hess toy truck collection and just being there with them, But one thing that I hadn't been able to tell people about it, but my mom was able to find out that Allie and I are pregnant and that she was going to be a grandmother for the second time. So that has helped me through this entire process, knowing that she got to know. So,
Surprise.
surprise! It's a girl. Also, it's taking after me already. She's a week ahead on the growth charts. So, if anybody wants in on a long-term betting pool of when Allie's going to have to look up at her daughter, join in now. So, also, just seeing just all these circles overlap: Boy Scouts, APO, the fire department. She had a hand in it all. They were already giving me crap about, you better not run a call during this service or whatever, but she had one of these radios too, and anytime when I was living with them or when I'd come in town, she'd always turn it on. She'd always be listening. She'd always ask me about the call when I got back. That was her. If she knew you liked something, she would dive into it even if she didn't care about it, and just, she knew it meant something to you. And I'll always be thankful for that. You picked a good one.
Okay, but you're pregnant.
Well, I guess I'm next. Just a little background. We had those trucks, but there were 4 unique ones. So, it's like, okay, which son gets which? We had a little drawing, and Sophia, the daughter, had to pick. And ironically, they were labeled A, B, C, and D. Jan, since he was elder, got to pick, or Sophia picked first for Jan. She picked A. Then Jamie's pick came. She picked B. Jan's turn again. She picked C. It's like, we could have done this a whole lot easier without the drawing if we would have just gone ahead and done it. Anyway, yeah, there were a lot of things that we have been through 3 years. We had a good time. Just setting up those trucks was a fun day for us because we went down to the museum 2 days ahead of time and set them all up, and she just had a great day setting it up. You know how anticipation is. If you get a chance to set something up where the giftee does not know, it's special. And it was special for both of us to have these guys here with us. And that was probably the best week she'd had in a couple of months. So I think she went on a high note. And I've got a lot written here, but I'm not going to read all of it because I don't read stuff except for one part, which we'll get to. She did work for Contact as a rape counselor for 20 plus years. She was also on the hotline that Contact maintained for sexual abuse and domestic violence. The thing about working on the hotline is you're not to really tell people what to do. You're there to listen. She was a good listener. And she could guide a conversation into an area which would help the person who's speaking to her. Just like when she has her talks with Jackie. Yeah, those are legendary. All I have to do is, I could be in the kitchen, she could be in the den, and I'd hear this, no! And I knew it was a pickleball call. So there was a lot that was going on with her. In addition to the Contact stuff, she was a volunteer for Faith in Action. They provided respite care for various people. And I don't know if any of you knew Stuart Thomas from Marshall, but he had ALS, and she was a respite caregiver for him for a while. And we got to know the Stewart family very well. In addition, just like Jamie mentioned about getting into other things that you may not have been comfortable with, but you're in it because the other person's in it. She went into contact. I went into Boy Scouts. We started with Jan and Jamie. Jan just barely in Cubs because he was just a little bit short of being Boy Scout age, and then some time with Jamie. Well, she wasn't particularly interested in Boy Scouts, but she made a career of it. I mean, she'd go on campouts. She would be organizing everything. And you know the paperwork that Boy Scouts have to go camping. Okay? She'd take care of the paperwork. I, as Scoutmaster, didn't have to do much of anything, which was great for me. But she handled all that, and I'm eternally grateful for that. The 2001 Jamboree happened because she and I both worked together to put together everything for it. I mean, Jamboree was already there. We had to organize our contingent. So that and plenty of other things. We worked with the Brownsea, which was the youth leadership training course, for 10 or 12 years. And then it changed over to a newer name and everything like that. But we held on to it for a couple of years just to see how it was going. And we held it just about every year. If the council is lucky now, they'll hold it every other year. And the council now is much bigger than it was before. So there was that. Jamie mentioned Philmont. Dina was crazy enough to say yes the year we had a co-ed crew, because we have to have a woman come along as a leader. And our first choice, not saying she was second choice or anything bad like that, well, you know, I felt you were crazy enough to do it. But Jamie had already kind of lined up someone who ended up wrecking her knee, so that was no go for hiking. So I called Dina up, and she said, when?
No, not entirely. You said you were going to ask Jackie, our other sister, first.
Yeah, Jackie wouldn't have done it. I know that. I was just saying that. Give the elder sister a chance, you know? But then she was crazy enough to do it the next time. And she did mention the Appalachian Trail. Just a little side note, I was doing solo hikes on the Appalachian Trail and could do anywhere from 50 to 125 miles in the 2 weeks, okay? Jamie decided to come along, and we ended up with him having plantar fasciitis. We got 35 miles done. Yeah. Then the year Dina came, she ended up with blisters. We got 25 miles done. I said, this is diminishing returns here. I'm going to start going back myself. But then a few years back, Deb was really behind me going to Scotland. While I was there visiting my sister in Scotland, I think 2019, just before COVID. I was fascinated. They had trails there. It's beautiful country. I know we've got nice country here because I've been on the Appalachian Trail. It's beautiful there. It's just a different beautiful, okay? Well, we got there with our packs, and we walked the first 6 miles to a distillery. We had to stop, of course, at which point we looked at each other and said, we need a taxi, because we already had a reservation at a hostel in the next town, which was 6 miles further, okay? So we got the taxi, stayed the night. The hostel owner said, you know, I've got beds for you guys for another night if you want to go on. So we left our stuff there, hiked the next 6 miles, and got a bus back. After which we said, we're done hiking for that trip. Got the train back to Elaine's in Edinburgh, and we just kind of bopped around Edinburgh for the rest of the time. Yeah, that's when I got COVID, which was really fun trying to rearrange air flights and being quarantined for 7 days. I've had my COVID shots, but apparently the Scottish COVID does not recognize the US shots. So anyway, we got that settled. 2 years later, we went back. This time we went as a package deal where we had the hotel and luggage transport and all that. And Elaine joined us, and we made, well, 3 sections. We got up to 24 miles. Since we'd already done the first 6, we took a bus to the distillery and then walked from there. Then since we'd already done the next 6 miles, we got a bus up to where we left off the previous time and did another 6 miles. So, you know, we managed. And after that, it was no more hiking. Let's see how we can use the Scottish bus and rail transport, which is really good, by the way. You can get almost everywhere in Scotland on bus or rail. And we just took a bus to the next place we had a reservation and kept going and walked a little bit on the trail in those towns because the trail went through the town. So all we had to do is step foot on the trail and we walked it. We're good. So anyway, we are done with the West Highland Way. We didn't finish it, but we're done with it. So anyway.
What would have happened if Debbie didn't encourage us to try again?
Well, you can say that. Just go ahead, loud.
I did. We wouldn't have done it if Debbie didn't encourage us to do it again.
Right. Okay. All right. That's pretty much my part of the story. It's just that I have loved every minute of being with Debbie. We had our bad times, but our one rule was never go to bed angry. Didn't matter if we stayed up till 3 a.m. figuring out what we were doing. We never went to bed angry. So, most recently weds, remember that. Okay? And I ran across something I'd read many, many years ago, which you may have heard, and I'm going to read. We'll see if I can get through it. And some of you may even recognize it. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach when feeling out of sight for the ends of being and ideal grace. I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as one strives for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with the love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smile, tears of all my life. And God choose, I shall but love thee better after death. That not only speaks to romantic love, but the enduring part of love. Thank you.
Yeah, you gotta follow that.
All right, so we're gonna open up in just a minute, but I'm gonna take the lighthearted. We're gonna turn this up to funny. So just a quick APO story about my mom and how she traumatized the section chair so bad that even 15 years later, if he would see my mom, you could watch the blood pressure spike. So Jamie and I, one thing we got into is we planned conferences, and the first one we planned, we kind of went up to a conference in what was Shepherdstown, wasn't it? It was that one. So we went up there and we bid on conference and we got it. We had planned all this stuff out. So when we got home, I think, Nick, we were in your house when this all went down. And Will was freaking out. He was brand new section chair. Oh my gosh, this is the first one. And so we were joking, like, how can we punk Will? Because Will loves pranks. So I called my mom. I was like, because Deb Stivers and Jan Jerzak, you see those names on a piece of paper. If you don't know us, you don't know that we're related. So she was the chapter advisory chair of the chapter here at Marshall. So she called him and told him that there was a big problem at Marshall, that these 2 kids went to conference and got this bid without any approvals of our chapter. And then it got worse. You know, my mom's a feminist. So Will had worn a kilt at the conference banquet that we were at. So my mom decided to twist it even worse and say that it's offensive that men wear dresses to banquets. And She did that on her own. Like, we only had the first part. We had to call the region director. We had to call other section chairs. We had to call advisors because Will lost his mind. She hook, line, and sinker. Had no idea my mom was behind this. And he even called people. We had to alert them. So they called and played along. Then he called my mom back, and it just kept going and going and going. And it was like you just sat back and watched a napalm fire just burn a city down. So finally we were worried. Will was literally throwing things in his car to drive from Morgantown to Huntington to solve this problem. And when we realized that, we were like, we got to stop this. So my mom introduced herself as Deb Stivers. I'm the mother of Jan Stivers Jerzak. And then that got, so this was like 2004, I think, or 5. No, but we weren't in there. 2006. So even to this day, Will hears my mom's name and thinks of her. He gets horrified. Like, it's hilarious. So does anyone have anyone else want to get up and say anything? Funny story, memory, anything? Okay.
I just want to make sure that. And Deb adopted me when our boys joined the troop. So being the mother of boys, you do what the boys do. Deb adopted me, and she introduced me to the ways of camping and all the cool stuff about it. And the biggest thing was she taught me how to pee in your tent. So if you want to know, you take a coffee can, a big one, and then you put a miniature trash bag in it, and then you put a baby diaper in it, and then you set it in your tent. And at the appropriate time, boom, can, done. Pull up the trash bag, put it in a knot, go away next day. That's Deb. She went it down to a cat. She was amazing. She got me through vigil night. She made sure that I had all the appropriate things I needed. That's a stay away from my heel. And she made sure little elves would sneak things to me to help keep me awake, so to speak. And she was right there, big proponent. When I was going through breast cancer, and part of the troop showed up at my front door with virtually no hair. she was right behind it. She organized meal trains. When she was invested, she was invested. She and I had a connection through contact with her contact. She had more of a temperament for it than I did. I don't think it didn't last 20 years. I think it lasted 2 or 3, but she was an amazing woman that got into your soul, got into your heart, and even though we moved away 5 years ago, she would always make sure she kept me in touch with what was going on, who was getting promoted, who, all the things, and we texted back and forth about it, but obviously not like Jackie, but because I don't make it long. But she was a wonderful, wonderful dear friend, and the boys, they took care of our boys when my family was going through problems with illness and death and new stuff, and they say, just send the boys over, and we'll take care of them. We'll take them up to Aunt Janet's. But anyway, she was an amazing friend to have. You guys are lucky to have all that hurt in your life.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Laurel?
I'm a little talker, so I'm gonna go front.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I don't have a lot of words to say. I'm the random person that shows up every several years at events. But I wanted to talk about, to give some context, who the Jerzaks are to me. When I went to college, I was living a couple hours away. They were basically like my college family, like my second family. And when I lost my brother, I was like, oh, I'm not alone. I have brothers in them. So um, I remember back in APO, that's how we were involved in the co-ed fraternity. I didn't know a lot of people, and I'm an introvert. I don't make a ton of friends. I don't enjoy that part. So I remember they were part of my close friends network, and obviously Deb meant a lot to them because they would talk about her a lot. They would say, "Oh, mom, this," and mom. They'd tell stories about pranks and whatnot. And I remember Jamie would say, "Oh yeah, we call her Shorty," and Jan would say, "Yeah, that's what we call mom." And I remember one time, I think we were working on I think it was a float. It was some kind of situation where I would go over occasionally, during the APO years, and I hadn't been to their house yet. And I was so intimidated to meet Deb, like this Shorty person. I was like, she's a legend. She sounds like she's done so much in their life. And I remember when I went to the door, there was a sign on the doorbell. And I don't know who this gets attributed to, whether it's Deb or it's Ed, but there was a sign that says, "Do not ring doorbell, baby is sleeping." And I was like, this is a legend. Whoever thought this up, this family is an amazing family. They're a legend. So the biggest thing, like John spoke to, that I always felt when I would go over to the Jerzaks was I felt welcome and I felt hospitality. That meant so much to me because I don't have a huge family, and just being in college, you're navigating a lot of things, you're going through a lot of things, and there's ups and there's downs. But every time I came over, Ed or Deb or whoever was there, I felt like I was walking into like my grandma's living room, and I could just like kick up, take off my shoes, lean back, watch the TV, play with BD or the cats or whoever the other cats were. It was always a safe place. So fast forward in time, life happened and we went our own ways. I went down to Florida for 10 years and kind of, we stayed in touch occasionally, but not a lot. And the guys found women in their lives and, life moved forward, and that was a joyful moment. And unfortunately, I did not make it to Jan and Kelsey's wedding. I do regret that, but I was able to make it to Jamie and Allie's wedding. And I get overstimulated and overwhelmed in social gatherings like this. So what I typically do is I go see someone I know and I care about, and I go off in the corner and kind of latch onto them. That's how I cope. And at Jamie and Allie's wedding, Deb was there. Deb and Ed and Ken and a few other people. And I said, "Ooh, let me go over here and talk with them." And per other conversations today, Deb, we were able to talk. We talked. And it was really nice because she shared with me her and Ed's story and, the trips back and forth and the earnest love you had for each other. She was just open hearted. We hadn't talked probably in over a decade, and she was just felt like nothing changed. She's interesting. She's funny. It was a wonderful conversation, and I am grateful that I had the chance to share that moment with her and really get to know her better. Though she shines through in Jamie, Jan, Ed, Susan, all other family members I've gotten the chance to know and talk to. So I just wanted to express from somebody that hasn't been super involved, even as someone sort of ancillary, she felt like my mom, like during college, and this felt like my family during college. So I'm really grateful for who she is and, the many ways that she lives on and how she touches people.
Anyone else? Jim.
All right. I am a loud talker, and I don't want to step over folks. When I think of Deb, I have two kind of enduring visions. The first is, and just for some context, Tim Atkins, a friend of the family. I first met the Jersey. I actually don't remember when I first met you guys. It was like fourth grade, back in Cub Scout days. And knew the members You talk about being adopted. It's pretty much what happens. The first vision I had of her is when we were in scouts or in life or whatever, no matter what kind of trouble we got ourselves in, we took a trail that was probably way too long for us. You'd see that white Plymouth van, and you knew you were going to be okay. She would take care of you. She always did. And it didn't matter what happened. We were, doing leadership stuff at Brown Sea. In any aspect of life, she was always there to take care of us. The other's a little less funny, but much more important to me. 15 years ago, more than 15 now, I lost my mother. And that was a very hard process for me because I was pretty young. But Deb and the Durzak family were there for us, for me, for my brother, even for my dad who wasn't at Scout. And that made a really big difference to us and spoke to the kind of person she was. Even though I wasn't really involved in scouting anymore, she and they were still with us 100%. That's the kind of person she was. If you didn't know her well, I'm sorry. But she was an amazing and wonderful person. Thank you. Thanks, Zach.
And she loved her cats.
Oh, yes.
And when
I never rang the doorbell. I was always pretty.
yeah, and when Tim says my mom bailed us out, she bailed us out quite a lot. There's lots of miles on that van. All right, anyone else want to say anything? All right. Yeah, no, that's kind of it.
Okay, I guess this is it, and I really do appreciate all of you coming. It means a lot to not only me, but the rest of our family, just to see the people who've been involved in our life that we may not have seen for a while, but it's so good to see you again. Thank you for coming.